Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's client webinar or June webinar. If you can hear us and see us, you can go say hi in the chat. We'll wait a couple more seconds and then we'll get started once we have a little bit more people in the room. Hi, Yannick.
Rosalie, very exciting. It's a big webinar, fully packed today.
Yes, I think it's the most packed of the year. I would personally say.
Yeah, I think it is. Just
All
before.
right. Yeah, I say that every time. All right. Okay, let's get started. So you should see on the screen our presentation deck. What's new in Client PSA? Today we will be talking about version 50.4.4 that was released last week. My name is Rosalie. I'm Customer Success Manager at Client, and I'll be your host today. As always, we have Yannick, our CEO. Hi.
Hello again. Hello again.
And we have Isabel that's on the chat today, there to answer any questions you may have during the webinar. As always, some best practice, just make sure you participate to our polls. You can use the react button at the very bottom where there's the heart emoji, heart icon, and you can use the chat or the Q&A to ask questions as you wish. Before we continue in our agenda, we'll start with our very first question in the poll that we always do. We want to know if we have some new faces today. So is this your first client webinar? Yes. No, I'm a regular, or no, I've been to a couple of them. So I'll leave you a couple of seconds, and I think we can move to the agenda. Yes. So as I mentioned, today's version 50.4.4 that we're talking about. We will also, towards the end, do a little recap about our ideas voting initiative and our product roadmap. So what's coming up next, and what our team is going to be working on, and then conclusion. And just before we move forward, just a little recap on our release notes. We talk about release notes every month. What's really important to know is we have those different emojis, but we want to bring your attention on this red light emoji. This means that there's upgrade consideration for this feature. So every time on the left side you see the emoji, it means there's some little notes that say, okay, you need to turn this on to configure this for your users to see it. So if you're an admin, you should definitely do a quick search, Control F, to search all the upgrade consideration before you upgrade to the next version. That is my recommendation, on top of joining all the webinars, of course. All right, it looks like today we only have regulars, so that's great. Welcome back, everyone.
Following. Hi, everyone.
All right, okay, so in terms of new features and improvements today, what we wanted to talk, it's really interesting this month, we have a lot of those features that actually came from our ideas initiative. So back in March, we published on our community like 20 ideas for you to vote on. You guys voted. The next month in April, we said, okay, there's those 7 ideas that we're putting on a roadmap. We already developed one. So if you remember, there was the remember all toggles from my timesheet. But this release, we're releasing 6 things that were voted by you guys. So our product team works really fast. That's what it means. And what it also means is you should definitely keep voting and keep submitting feature requests. The second block you see here, these are all ideas from that are coming from customers as well. So that's the light bulb, but we just brought them straight. So you did a feature request and we put them straight into the roadmap. And then the last portion, still really important features that we know are going to be relevant to you, but that came from our team. But yeah, so that's all we're going to be talking about today. And Yannick, shall we get started with our first block about workspace and tasks?
Absolutely. So a few things here. So let me just switch back. Okay, this, and let's look into client. Perfect. So yeah, there's a lot to show today. So I'll go into the details of the task indicator first. So this is our workspace. I'm gonna now just toggle our new column, which is a task indicator. For now, you can trigger it from that toggle menu in the workspace. And then you can see we have a new column showing that's providing you a lot of relevant information in terms of how your tasks are built, if they are overdue, and we're going to be looking at those icons here on the left side. So first, it's a column that you can move around and that you can, as usual, save in your presets. But let's look at the details and what it does. So first, when there is some coloring, it means there's something important. In this case, there is some logged hours. So if I click on it, it's going to bring me to the time section of the task panel. If there's a checklist like this, it means there's some checklist item and they're not completed. When you're completing them, they're gonna turn green. So now they're not blue anymore. There's a file attached. This means there's a file attached. And you can see there's a big indicators here. They're the circle. They're red. This means that your tasks are overdue. So we added a new overdue indicator. So this way you can easily see what's overdue. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah. And I think, did you talk about the milestone indicator? Yeah.
No, I didn't talk about the milestone indicator. Let's look at the legend from here, and we can talk about it right from here. So there's milestone indicator. For now, it's only showing pink if it's a milestone and green when it's completed, meaning that it's not overdue. The overdue indicator also show next to the milestone itself. Okay. So this is that new task indicator columns, so you can have everything at once. And in the same kind of line of thought, we also added an overdue fields that you can add in that list view, and it's going to show. And this is usually it's not used to be used in that grid, but mainly as well in terms of maybe automation you want to do. So when you have that formula turning to true, it means that those tasks are overdue. So you have to work with it. So again, those that overdue column or new field that's been added to the package. So you can use it and show it in the grid or use it for other purposes.
I love the task, this task indicators. I know personally, manually, I know we were adding the checklist emoji in the task name to indicate that there was a checklist. And now we don't have to do that anymore, saving us some time. So I love it.
Exactly. So now we have those two. I'm going to jump right into them. So Workspace CSV export. So based on the column that you have here, minus that task indicator column, but now when you export to CSV, it's going to follow the exact same fields that you're showing in the grid. So that's CSV that got downloaded. We can show my Excel here. You can see that those columns represent the columns that I had in showing here in my grid, even the one that are underneath. So this information is coming over. So this is a small improvement that we did for that exports to CSV if you need to export those task groups. And then the tooltip. So this is, I'm going to show you the purpose of this. Maybe it's a feature. The improvement is very small. It's that grayed out difference between the darker one and grayed one. So I'm not sure if you've been using this, but there's an arrow. So if you want to notify someone that is assigned on a specific task, you can press this. It's going to send a neat email. And it's going to tell in that email that, okay, you've been added to this task, and there's a link to directly to this task in a project, details about the dates, the role, the assignment even. So you can, the assignee or the person in your team can know and can easily access it. The improvement is that even if you don't have an email address associated with your resources, then it's grayed out and it shows you that there's an error messages. But I thought I would point out and the end result of that cool thing. So when you're adding someone on a task, you can just press that icon and it's going to send an email like I just showed you.
Yeah, and before people just didn't know why it wasn't working because we didn't have any message showing. So
yeah.
Yay.
And this is something that our customers should be using, those notifications when you're assigned to a new task. It's very useful.
Yep.
Okay, so looking at my agenda, I think we're going through very well. The next item is my deadline. We're continuously improving our tools to make sure that the visibility is as good as it gets. So if I'm going to my home page and I'm looking at my deadlines, I can see that I have a few tasks overdue, and there's a neat calendar view with my deadline. Before the cells, it was very the cells height was very high, meaning that you had to scroll a lot. So we just compressed it, so it's a lot easier to use again. And as always, you have that right side panel that you can easily be redirected to your specific task and the description, and you can log your time. So that deadline calendar view, some small improvement with the width, but it helps in usability for using that functionality.
Perfect.
Cool. Then let's jump into my timesheet. Again, it's improvement. My timesheet, we've did some been adding some features, but now we've played a little bit more with the actually let me go back to my home page. We've played with the responsiveness on the timesheet. So when you have a lot of data in the past, and it was even more obvious in that home page when you were dropping it, you always had the scroll bar at the bottom. Because of the way it was built and the way that depending on how many columns, because all this it's customer based, right? Every customer can have different column in here, but now it's a lot better formatted and responsive, like I said. So let's say I'm copying from my schedule. Now I can see that even if I have a lot of data in here, the right side you can see well the number of hours. On the left side, nothing is shrink either. And now you can see as well that if I'm adding the weekends, you can see now that I can still see the value as well. So everything has been reduced. So now it's a lot easier to work with that timesheet. And when it's time to add a new row as well, the different behavior has been a little bit improved across the different way of selecting projects or selecting a task in the platform. So
And it's
on top
gonna
of
adjust to your
remembering,
window size as well, right?
yeah, exactly. And this was a previous improvement that it remembers the different toggles, but yeah, we're trying to make it easier to use and a bit more responsive.
Nice.
Uh,
And I think the next one is pretty related, timesheet mass approval. We don't talk about that much on our webinars. I do know, I just wanted to sneak it in that we have a e-learning course about approval processes. So we're just gonna drop the link in the chat in case you're curious. But that was just a little segue. We did make 2 improvements, and those 2 improvements was interesting. They're coming from ideas from our customers as well, so specifically asked by you guys. So yeah, Yannick, let's talk about them.
Yep. So let's go in the mass approval interface. And let me search for, I'm gonna look for all approved timesheet, and I'm gonna go back, let you remove this. Okay, so one of the first thing is adding that new task search icon. So within a project, let me search for. I can see I have a lot of records. If I'm looking at all my approval, let me filter out by that specific project. And now I can even select by task. So if I want to just look at one specific task, or if I want to add a few tasks, you can add those tasks and then search. So now it's going to return only the line item that fits those criteria. In this case, it's only returning me that delivered task. So that's the first improvement, that task search box. But then here, this is the other main one, and this is going to save a ton of time to our the approvers. If you have the proper settings of approving hours, you are going to be able to even change the time comments. So let's say there's a typo and you need to change it, or there's more that you need to add. You're going to be able to change it right away. You won't need to go on 2 other levels to go change that time comments. So you can change it right from here when you have the proper rights. As soon as you're going to approve it or submit it, it's going to save it.
Yeah, and this is super useful if you have those comments shown on your customer invoices. If that's the case, then those comments are really important. So if that's your case in your organization, this, yeah, very time saving and relevant. I think I saw
Yep.
it thumbs up anyways.
I guess that's why they asked for that feature, right? So
Yeah.
saving time, making a bit more, being a bit more efficient.
Yeah, and speaking of yeah, for our next feature, aligning schedule with logged hours, this may ring a bell because earlier in the year we did release this feature, but it was just an initial step. So we released it from the task panel. You were able to do that, and now in this new release, we just like expanded this concept. There's more ways to do it. It's faster, so that's what we want to specifically talk about. Hopefully, more people are going to be using it as well. So yeah, let's dive into it because there's quite a lot.
Yeah, this is the core, one of the 2 biggest
Yeah.
piece to demo today. So this one, there's a bit more juice. So let me show you in a specific project the use case. And again, it's to be able to report better on our different projects. So let me go back in time on that specific project where I have some people assigned on several tasks. And when you're using a client for scheduling hours, Sometimes you schedule before and they deliver after, as you can see here. So Bailey was scheduled some hours at the beginning of January, but he worked them only in Feb. Same for Ben Gray, but there was a little bit of overlap. We can see what those resources here, they work before being scheduled. So depending on how your project is living, this is some possible situation. But now to make sure that you are aligned with the number of hours logged versus what you have to schedule or to schedule, we offer that functionality. So I'm gonna go back in my project. So the functionality start here with the button align schedule with logged hours. So we add this usually. I'm gonna show you later on if we have time, that we have that button that you can reschedule on the task panel. But now you have that UI. So if I'm sticking here, it's gonna reschedule for the entire project based on that date range. Before you were able to only do it per task or per resource. So now you can do it per the entire project. Or we're gonna start with this now. You can do it per task. So if I'm doing my developer task and I'm saving it, now it's gonna change my scheduling pattern. And let me see if everything has been updated properly. And now you can see that everything that was scheduled prior got wiped out to 0. Then the logged hours got matched with the scheduled hours. And this is it. Now I'm gonna be, if I'm looking at my variance between actuals, schedule versus estimate, it's gonna be 0. So I might need to have some added schedule value. So now I can reschedule in the future some resource. Okay, so this was for that specific developer task that we had, but I could have done the same, but for the entire project. So if I'm going back to my screen, and maybe though, did I press it? No, I didn't press it, but so if I stick here, then I can select, for example, I want to stop on today's date. It was already default. So everything that's going to be scheduled in the future, I want to keep the scheduling pattern, but I just want to wipe the past starting from the earliest date. And then it's going to do exact same thing. So if I'm going back to my project, all those might take a few seconds, but all those will be realigned again like this. So now you're clean in terms of schedule. So the previous way of doing it, it was from here on the task panel in the schedule tab. You could do it via that button just by selecting date. Now we made it available higher level. And is it callable by Flow, Rosalie? Is this release or it's next?
No, that would be the next one.
The next one. So and then it's this going to be able to be called by Flow as well.
What's different as well is now with this release, it's not only the project owner that can do that, it's everyone that has access to the project. So that's another change as well. Good to know.
Let me just check my note real quick. It's good. For the other functionality on the resource planner, we had a filter by project type and hide weekends. So let me open up the global planner. And switch now to the day view. So the day view in the past, you always add Saturday, Sunday. We've added a new toggle to hide weekends. So now it's going to do exactly what it says. It's going to hide the weekend in my view, so I don't see Saturday, Sunday anymore. So that's a new toggle. Again, you can save. First thing, then on the filtering side of things, we added a new project type. So depending on what list you have in our demo environment, it's very simple. There's only 2 values, customer and internal, but depending on your project type, you can filter based on those project types. So again, bonifying a little bit the way that you can search and filter this planner, and now you can save it all in the your presets. So you don't have to say it. So I'm jumping the gun. I know you
Every
want to talk
webinar
about
you can
the car.
expect us to talk about a new resource planner filter and presets.
I'm not talking about preload anymore, but it's good.
Yeah,
and the next thing on that planner, let me go back in the week view. If I'm switching, for example, and I'm looking at schedule now, but I want to look at availability. We've color coded this availability with our old color scheme. So in this release, the color coding is fixed. It's going to be brought back in the configuration page as every other color in the next release. But you can see now that in red, it's really the people that this is the availability, right? So if you are available 40 hours, it means, or 27 hours, it means that you have a lot of work that can be done. And then you can see that who's the sweet spot, who's really needs some attention. So again, to try to bring to your attention, we really need to be staffed. So we're going to be adding functionality as well, such as when we are looking at the schedule level, you can define the range, right, of coloring. This is going to be bearing back in a future release as well in terms of availability, plus the color selection that will be able to change. So again, I'm trying to make your life easier. Anything to add on this resource planning?
No, I think that's fine, and I'm sure there'll be more iteration to everything we talked about next month.
Okay, this one is a bit more brain intensive, so it's prepayment. And again, depending on your use case, maybe you're already doing prepayment, but you're capturing some of those value in your accounting system or in Excel sheet. Maybe you got implemented with one of our custom package we had in the past, and even in Drakia, we're implementing a prepayment package. But now the prepayment is being included in the system. And just to define what is a prepayment, we're going to open up our project here. So you see we have an implementation project. This one is a time and expense, and we're going to ask for 50% prepayment, meaning that before the project start, we're going to ask for half of the cash for this project. And then every time we're going to invoice the hours, we're going to deduce from that prepayment, and that the percentage deduction, do you deduce and empty the prepayment at the beginning with all the invoices, or you make it last and deplete only a percentage of it every invoice? This is the concept of what a prepayment is, and it's working on top of everything else we have.
Yeah, and I just want to poll to ask quickly if you guys were doing prepayments or not. It looks like some people are doing, some people are not doing. And so I think it's half at this point. So it's still relevant to show it, I think. And then
Absolutely. And it's a really good feature because it helps with deferred revenue and accounting bit. So this is what it is, the prepayment module. So from here, from a project, and you can call it from a flow as well. So you can do it directly from an opportunity or from a proposal. You can create a prepayment. Net 30 or net 60, this is more terms, conditions. Prepayment is really taking cash before the service is being rendered. So meaning that I owe you the cash because I didn't deliver hours yet. And then I'm going to deplete that cash that you gave me before I'm executing the work. So it's based, the prepayment functionality, I was answering a question from the chat. There's a expected revenue on the project. So this is where this number originate from. And then you can see what is the percentage prepayment you want to take. So we're going to take 50%. And on each invoice, after that, we're going to apply 50% of that prepayment to that invoice, meaning that at the end, we should be at 0. So just by doing this, it's going to create that prepayment object. You can add those prepayment object in your related list on the project, and you will see later on the account too. And you can see that there's a project billing lines and a project billing that got created for that amount. And then that we have that information of related to that prepayment. We're going to come to it later. And when it's time to generate that invoice, you can just go ahead and do your standard generate invoice generation process. And we even added like a prepayment option to search for. So it's going to show me all the prepayment that need to be invoiced. So I have that one here for 621, that amount of dollars. So now I created that invoice. That invoice can be considered a standard invoice and needs to be sent to the customer. So we have that prepayment of 50%. I can preview the invoice with the exact same information. You can modify that line item. But if I'm going back to my close some tabs, just a second. If I'm going back to my prepayment here, if I now look, there's another balance that the invoice got created. So now you can see that my balance amount is 6,212.50. for that specific project. Okay, and it can work on the account level. Now I'm executing the project. This got paid. I'm executing the project. I'm logging some hours. So you can see I've logged 2 hours. Okay, and then I got those hours got approved. So now I can generate my invoice for those hours. So instead of just a prepayment, I'm going to look for everything. So you can see that here I have 2 hours for $400 that are available for invoicing. So let me create that invoice. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the prepayment to that invoice. So for now, that customer owe us 400, but we said 50% should be coming from the prepayment, right? So we have that button you can drop on the invoice, apply prepayment. You're going to show you all the prepayment you have available under that specific account. You can select it. It's telling you information. So the balance is still that amount. This current amount is for 400. The suggested amount is minus 200 because it's 50%. You could manually change it if you wanted to. I'm going to leave it this way. So now what it does, it creates an invoice additional item for that negative value, meaning that now the customer only owe $200. And if you preview the invoice PDF, you have that information that's going to be shown as well. So the customer can know. And we even show the balance of the prepayment to the customer. So he knows exactly what's left in his prepayment bank amount. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, and I think this is one of those, like, remember, this webinar is being recorded and we have timestamps as well. So if you have someone on your team that you may not be the one generating the invoice and doing all that, but you can definitely send them the link to the webinar and they can rewatch this. And we have this all in details as well in the release notes. And of course, once you get down to it, you can always email our support team as well. But it's a really cool feature.
So it's cool for accounting people.
Yeah. There are some
So-
functionalities like the Workspace. We know most people are using it. This one, maybe not so much, but still very, I think, yeah, finance people, if we had a full room of them, they would be really excited.
And the concept is that prepayment object, which is a new object in the system, the prepayment object really capture all that information, all that audit trail. So you can see now that I have my fixed fee item on one side, or the initial billing, and everything that create that debit and credit. And you can see that I have that balance amount as well with all the detail of what depleted it. So, and this prepayment, you can drop it on your account as well. So if, for example, I'm going to, I think it's play around that I did. So if I'm going on the account play around, I can see as well that I have my project, but I also have my different prepayment. If you add more than one, you can capture all prepayment from within the account as well when they're linked and shown.
Perfect.
Good.
Okay.
So that was the prepayment part. The other one could have been as well as very excited, but I've decided just use screenshots. So we have expenses in our system. So our customer know that we have expense and expense line. There's multiple ways you can track that. We even have a mobile app that you can take a picture of your receipt. And then you can invoice those back to your customer. You can reimburse your employee and track that information. And you can invoice for it, like I said. But there is nothing created on the accounting side, on the QuickBooks side at least. We added on Xero. So now the idea is that those expenses can be sent to QuickBooks. They're going to be created as a bill, the object called bill or the concept called bill on the QuickBooks side. And then we're going to have bill our lines that are going to be created based on the lines we have as well. So then you can do whatever you need on your side. So maybe paying your employees, maybe there is some other thing you need to do with those information on the accounting side, you can do it. So that's one way. So we're creating bills. The other way is coming soon. So if you have a credit card and those create expenses and you want to push those to client, this is, I think, in the roadmap as we will see later on, Rosalie.
Yeah, and QuickBooks is the platform that most of our customers is using. So I know we had a lot of requests for this one. So really glad if you're one of those customers that ask for us, please go upgrade and test it and give us your feedback. Because as we mentioned, we have more coming. Yeah.
And thank you, Isabel. Isabel's saying it's for 50.5, the other side of that transaction. Usually you will use one or the other, not necessarily both. So if it's the other side process that you're doing, then it's going to be 50.5. Okay, some small idea based on the next one is project status report. It's small for now, but this is one of the area that a lot of ideas you voted for, and that we're making a lot of improvement in the next release. It's related to that project status. So let me open up my project and press that project status button. So when you're sending it, now you have the possibility to include a logo, and then that logo is going to be shown here on the top right of your project status. So this is really, and it's coming from the organization logo. So in your organization object, client object, and it's going to be showing. The next few releases, we're going to revamp pretty much everything related to project statuses. The idea that you voted for was really to have a different project status type based on the different project type. Plus, we're going to revamp the look and feel, the control you have of what's being shown. So it's exciting in terms of what we're building. We're looking at involvement every week with the dev team. So this is coming to as well. For now, it's that logo that can be added.
Yeah, so any excuse that we're hearing from customers to why they're not using the project status report, we're just trying to put those into the product until there's no more excuse and everybody's
There's
using
nothing
it.
left. Yeah.
That's the end goal. And
then another one that's gonna a lot of things that have been asked by the customer in terms of the surveys, and we're trying to be very quick and proactive on this. So let me open up my survey builder. And let me pick this specific survey. So you add the possibility to create a CSAT question before. The only thing is that those labels, they were fixed. So now you can see that you can edit the labels of your CSAT, and it's also working with whatever scales you're putting. You're going to be able to label your CSAT requirements. There's another small improvement we did with spacing as well. The emoji is coming very soon. So again, we're improving those surveys and the ease of use, the different type of question. So yeah, please use it. Tell us your feedback.
And that concludes, we talked about a lot of different functionalities. That concludes our most notable ones. I just put a poll like we do all the time because our product team is very curious to know of all the features and improvement we mentioned today, which ones, I know there's a big list, but which ones caught your attention more, or which ones are you more excited to try? And then we want to know if you're going to be upgrading to this version as well. And then on the screen, as always, after the presentation, we're sharing the presentation deck. We have direct link to every one of those that we talked about. And then on the next slide, Yannick, if you move 2 slides, well, if we go to the...
I went back, sorry. Give me a sec.
So, yeah, so you have the list of the other improvements as well, and tweaks and fixes, and direct links to all the release notes, because we don't have time to talk about all of these.
It's a fully packed release. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. I think the most popular ones, yeah, we still have some people voting, but yeah. All right, I'll leave a little bit more time. I think the list is maybe a little bit too long. But the timesheet and resource planner, see, that makes sense, because the financial, we're not getting as many thumbs up, but then I guess we don't have a room full of financial people today.
But it's normal because probably they've been solving this problem another way before. But now if they have more complex model, then you can absolutely use prepayment. But yeah, I agree. It's not as exciting.
I'll close off the poll. Thank you for answering. And then for the next section, we want to talk a little bit about our ideas voting and product roadmap. So in terms of ideas voting, just curious with thumbs up or emoji if anyone has been voting for ideas in this past month. This month, our team has retained 2 ideas, these ones. This means that you voted, these were super popular, and then they're going to be developed. They're already added to the roadmap. And as you see, our team works fast. So in like 2 releases, you should see them in the product. So the first one, enhance estimate cost at completion. Oh yeah, that's to take into consideration logged hours, Yannick, right? I think that's the one that
Yeah, there's a few calculation, and it's been two that I've been selecting, but we've been adding several other as well. And there's more ideas that we're developing. They were just not in that voting process. But I think this one is going to be very useful also, like shifting all the tasks. It's a well-needed functionality.
Yeah, I think that's one that people had to find the little workarounds, but they were not super satisfactory. So definitely for people as well that are creating projects when they're in the pipeline. So before the deal closed, they have a lot of date change, and that one will be very relevant, I think. So perfect. And then we added 4 new ideas because every month we add new ideas to vote for. So these are brand new. So if any of these spark interest after today, you can go and vote for them. But to split timesheets across calendar months. So yeah, if you have a week that has 2 months in there, then you can have these split, which was not possible before. And I know the manual workaround is not great. So that's definitely going to save time for everybody. Enhanced vendor invoicing filters and display option. Just again, to simplify, if you're using those, just making your life easier. Project visibility in Resource Planner. Yeah, another one of those filters / view that we're adding to make it easier. And flexible work schedule. I think that one is, right now, if you're a resource, you can only have one work schedule. So you'll have the possibility to have more than one.
I think this is going to be very popular. There's already some votes on this one, but this is really the case. Like during summer, I'm going to have a different work schedule. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to be full 40 hours. And then in December, so being able to handle those use cases. So yeah, please go vote to make sure that it is relevant, and we should invest time because this is going to be quite a project to develop. So we want to make sure that you guys will be using this if we go ahead and develop it.
Perfect. Yeah. And as a reminder, this is where you go if you want to vote. So you log into our community. You do need to have a login. If you don't have a community user, you can just ask our support team. We'll create one for you. And then you can sort by recent if you want to see all the new ideas at the top, or popular if you want to see the most popular ones and just vote again for them. And any of the ideas that are the winning one, you'll see a medal. And then eventually we move those to the roadmap, which bring us to our next section, actually, the roadmap. So you can see what I was mentioning earlier on the left side. You have some of those that have the medal, which means they won the vote, and now they're directly put into this space. And if you scroll all the way down as well, you can see our previous release, and you'll see there's some of those that have the medal as well. And if we look at our next release, actually, that would be coming in July 11th. So that's like 3 weeks from now, something like that, 4 weeks from now. There's quite a lot of interesting things. So if we just go through them quickly, the first one for I put them in a different order, but we have something in the workspace for supporting locale and currency for currency and date fields in the grid. I think you were quite excited about that one, Yannick.
Yeah, it's visibility again. So being able to support locale, so currency fields and numbers, they're going to be comma separated if your locale is set up this way. So yeah, visibility.
Yeah, and then in the timesheet, we have a couple of things. So keyboard navigation, right now that's not really possible. So we're trying to make it maybe a little bit more similar like the workspace. My timesheet, full week time off, auto submitted and approved. That was an idea that won. So those weeks that you're just not working, just automatically submit those and approve them. So it's skipping some steps, saving you some time. Missing timesheet notification to use email template. That was an idea that won as well, pretty straightforward. Prepayment, invocable by flow. I think that's the one I confused, but yeah, right now it's not possible. It's going to be possible. So it's a second iteration. Project status report, Yannick, you talked about it. There's just more on the side of configurability that is coming. Project
Yes.
type.
Like that.
For the survey as well, I think you mentioned it. So emoji type and a little bit more customization again. And I think the last one is the next release. API to recalculate the forecast.
This one is great though, and this one is exciting. So we're adding at the bottom of my timesheet, we're gonna add the calendar. So either this one, first one is the Salesforce calendar, but it's gonna be connected to Google Calendar and Microsoft Calendar. So you're gonna be able to add your meetings easily as a line in your timesheet. So this is an awesome functionality of the first release of it. That's coming a bit more later on, but it's going to be very useful.
Yeah, that last one is coming like in 2 months, but all the other ones should be in the next release. And then I just launched a quick poll. We're curious to know which one you're most excited about, and then we can confirm once it's released if we delivered on that, but which upcoming functionality you're most excited about. So we included a list that I just mentioned, so you could take a couple of seconds to answer. Oh, did I not launch it? I just launched it. Okay. All right, perfect. And then moving on to our conclusion, we have a couple of things we wanted to mention today. And actually, I'm seeing that. I'm just going to end this poll. I'm going to go to the next one. Sorry about that. Okay, back. Okay, sorry. All right. So in conclusion, every time we talk to you about all the different resources that we have a lot. We have made some changes in the past months as well. We've tried different ways to share our content with you, different media, different frequency, different audiences. So first question that I just wanted to ask everybody was, and now we have a poll, sorry for that. Have you seen / interacted with any of our social media activities since our last webinar, so in the past few weeks? That could be YouTube.
Very curious about this. We're doing trying to create a lot of content on different media, but I'm not sure if you see it or not. Yeah, very curious about this.
Yeah, so far we have 60% that say yes and 40% that say no. They haven't seen it. So, all right, today we'll tell you more about it, I guess.
Yeah.
For those that said no.
Yeah, so the idea is that we're creating a lot of content as well, and I want to show you, for example, what we're doing now for some of our feature spotlights. So first, if you go on our website, you can see in the resource, we even have our monthly newsletter now that is available. So if you want to just get there and see it, the e-learning as well. You can, as I know you wanted to mention about the next webinar, Rosalie. So if you just go on client.com in the resource menu, you can see when are the next ones. So you can register for the July webinar. It just got added, so we're not taking any summer break. We're just gonna do it a little bit later in the month. But what I wanted to show you, it's a feature spotlight. For example, we're trying to do one for every release. So this is for 50.4. And we're trying to serve every type of content you might need. So screenshot, short description, a longer description, several screenshots. We even now have a podcast episode. So if you want to take a stab at listening to this, it's very impressive. Those podcasts, I'm going to tell you the truth. There is some magic. They've been generated by AI, but it's very relevant. I really like those. So please take a listen and tell us what you think. Plus, we've added FAQ. We sometimes have videos. Videos are a bit longer to produce, but sometimes we have video format. So this is another question. I'm not sure if we've queued it as a poll, but like which media do you consume the most? Is it reading, video? Is it podcast? I'm kind of curious. So if you want to ping me on separately, curious to see what you prefer in terms of consuming your content.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think events and webinars, that's covered the July webinar. If originally when we released all the dates, you sign up to all the webinars, you need to go again and register for the July one because it did not exist before. So for those guys that are coming every month, just make sure you're registered to that one. And the other thing we wanted to mention, I don't know if you saw it, but in the resources tab, there's the new section for newsletter that was not there before. Our newsletters, I don't know if you're receiving it. If you're not, you can send us a message on the chat. We can add you to the mailing list. But every month we send a newsletter, but you can also see those on our website. So if you're not finding them anymore in your mailbox and you have some free time to read, you can see them all there. And if you click on the newsletter as well, then you'll be able to sign up from there directly. You can share that link with a colleague as well. And these recap a lot of things that happen product-wise at Client.
And if you do see our social media, if you could like it or if you can repost, it would be appreciated. This means a lot and it brings more visibility. So yeah, we would appreciate if you can like or repost or reshare our content.
And give us feedback, like if there's things you like and don't like, so we know what type of content to do more.
Like and subscribe.
All right. Yeah, you can consult our full presentation deck at the end. As always, I will be sending a follow-up email That includes lots of information from today, some resources. And then after today, we also add a dedicated page about this webinar that includes the recording, podcast, slides, all that cool content. So make sure to look out for this email. Should be sending it tomorrow or Monday, the latest. And hopefully, I hope to see you on the next webinar. Otherwise, if you can take a couple of seconds to just answer our webinar feedback poll or / survey. And did I miss anything, Yannick?
Good, right on time.
We'll see you next month again.
Thank you very much, Rosalie. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a good summer.
All right.